What is up, guys? Spot May here. UFC Vegas. I don't know what number we're on now, but there's an Apex card this weekend. Belal Muhammad versus Gabriel Bonfim. And I'm gonna be real. This is actually a really good card. I know it's an Apex card, so I know a lot of people are gonna tune it out. A lot of people aren't gonna watch it, but this is one. If you know, you know, and this is a good card. I will say it. It's a good card. Not a great card, not like the White House card or all these other cards, but this is a very good card from top to bottom. Prelims are good, main card's good, main event's okay. Anyway, enough yapping. Let's get to the early prelim opener of Caitlin Souza versus Ariane Karolasi. I'm gonna be real. I'm not familiar with Ariane's game like that. Brazilian woman. They kind of merge. They're both Brazilian women, but Caitlin Souza is a masculine Brazilian woman, so she's in like her own subsection. I'm gonna go Caitlin Souza. She has some pop. She has the ability to knock Ariane out in the first round. Not in the first round, but she can get a KO here. If anyone's gonna get a KO, it will be Caitlin Souza. So that's to keep in mind. I'm gonna go with her by decision, 29-28. On to Cecilia Chavez versus Yannissi Dubin. Of course, Yannissi Dubin had that brutal knockout in the Contender Series against Canadian girl. Don't know her name, but she has gone on to win fights outside the UFC, so it is a good win. And she was a huge underdog in that fight, but she was able to get it done. And then in her debut, she fights Carly Judice, who I think is a very good mixed martial arts fighter. Gets head kicked in the first round, knocked out pretty bad. But, that's nothing too shameful in it, because Carly Judice is good. However, I am going to pick Cecilia Chavez here by TKO in round 2. I think it'll be scrappy. Dubin would be throwing them big meaty hooks. Maybe she'll clip her. Maybe she'll drop her for a moment in round 1. Round 1's close. Get into round 2. Chavez starts pouring it on. Gets that standing TKO against the cage. Classic women's MMA standing TKO. On to Jordan Levitt versus Joe Anderson Brito. This is a tricky one, and it really shouldn't be. Because if you remember Joe Anderson Brito coming up, and to think that this is where his career would go is kind of unfortunate, beat Diego Lopez in Contender Series. He's just had a kind of win one, lost one kind of career in the UFC so far, unfortunately. He was getting out grappled by a JSP, Jonathan Pierce, before he submitted him with the ninja choke. Has had some close fights where, he could have won. Pretty sure he lost to William Gomez. He might have gotten the win on that. I'm pretty sure he lost to William Gomez. It's tough. But Jordan Levitt, he's just not an MMA fighter, man. He's a soy, get off me kind of grappler. He does have some good knees in the clinch, so if they get in the clinch, Joe Anderson could be in trouble there. But this is one Joe Anderson should fucking ease through, man. I'm gonna go with Joe Anderson Brito by first round submission after dropping Jordan Levitt. Jordan Levitt shoots in for a shitty takedown, and Joe Anderson locks up his neck, gets the tap out in round 1. On to Zombie Girl Priscilla Cachoeira versus the worst fighter in UFC history, Chelsea Chandler, who is a favorite in this fight. That is despicable. Just goes to show you how shit women's bantamweight is, that Chelsea Chandler can be in a fight in the UFC and be a favorite. Disgraceful stuff, really is. I am going to go with Priscilla Cachoeira by a KO in round 2. She's just better. She's just, she's not Chelsea Chandler. That's pretty much the whole fight. Chelsea Chandler is fucking terrible. Cachoeira has really good pop. She's knocked girls out cold before. Chelsea Chandler, on the other hand, is fucking shit. All right, on to an actual fight here. Bruno Silva versus Edgar Chairez. This is a good one. This is a good scrap. Bruno Silva, of course, he's got the win back. He just got the win against Jung Young Park, I think his name is. But he was on a little bit of a losing streak before that, so he kind of snapped the momentum of that losing streak. Yeah, Edgar Shayrez. Edgar Shayrez is an interesting case here because, he is scrappy. He can get a guillotine out of nowhere and that stuff. But I just think Bruno Silva, sorry, he has a base. He's really good. I don't know why I said base. But he has like a really good understanding of jiu-jitsu, of grappling. He is popping the feet, and I don't think Edgar Shayrez is going to be able to catch him in like a guillotine or something like that. And for Edgar Shayrez, I kind of think that's like Edgar Shayrez' way to win this fight. And I'm going to go with Bruno Silva, sorry, I did it again. By decision. 29-28. Edgar Shayrez might steal a round. He's longer than Silva. Silva might have a little hard time overcoming the range early on. But Edgar Shayrez, he's a tough out. That's what he is. He's a tough out. I don't think he'll ever be in the rankings because, he's just not really good. Like, I don't know. Like, he gave Van a tough fight. They had the scrap at the Sphere. He had fought Terra on short notice in his debut and almost caught him in a guillotine, I think, and had him in some trouble. Or maybe he dropped him for a moment. Maybe I'm getting him and Jesus Aguilar. Yeah, maybe he dropped to Terra for like a split second. And then he lost the decision. But he has like moments. But Bruno Silva's really good. Like, he is a really solid fighter. Of course, you got schooled by Manel Cap. Fucking schooled by Joshua Van. Those aren't bad losses. There's no shame in that. I know Edgar Shayrez had a way closer fight with Van, but he was kind of also getting his shit beat, and then he landed the spinning back fist that wobbled Van. Bruno Silva fought a better version of Van, who was like a young guy who was like always constantly improving, so that's something to notice too. But Silva has good boxing. He has good boxing. I think he's going to be able to beat up the body, beat body head, chop the leg, mixing grappling if he needs to, be able to escape. I think he could shoot a takedown, Shayrez would jump a guillotine, and then Silva would reverse it. Like, I could see Shayrez winning a round on the feet. Silva looks to mix it up. Shayrez jumps a guillotine and then loses the position and then loses the round. Like, that's the type of fight I see this being. So, Bruno Silva, 29-28, unanimous decision. On to my GOAT, Marcus McGee versus John Yanez. This is on short notice. John Yanez is taking this on short notice. No stranger to it. Who'd he fought in his debut? Austin Bashi. He fought Austin Bashi in his debut on short notice. He won a fight against someone, I think an Asian guy. I think he got like a finish in like the second or first round after that. But Marcus McGee's a different animal. Marcus McGee's very good. He just had a very close fight with Peter Yan where you couldn't really argue it for him, but it was very close. And like a couple more shots land for him, we get to talking, So, yeah, I think this is going to be a fucking massacre, honestly. I think Marcus McGee's going to have a masterclass here. Round 1 KO. Mixing it up, spinning shit, fucking just putting on a striking clinic. And then hopefully he can get right back in the rankings because he's old. He's like 36, so. Yeah, nothing to really talk about there. John Yanez is not UFC caliber. He's here because he took a fight on short notice. That's pretty much it. On to the prelim headliner, Matt No Chin Schnell versus Alessandro Costa. I think Alessandro Costa is an honorary Mexican. I think trains like Diego Lopez in them. So honorary Mexican Alessandro Costa versus No Chin Schnell. I am going to go with honorary Mexican Alessandro. Because, dude, he's just not. I think some of these fights, there's just no breakdown needed. There's no breakdown needed for this fight. We know Alessandro's going to go in there, land a big meaty right on Matt Schnell's no chin, and fucking put him out bad. To catch weight, I don't know who missed weight. If I had to guess, I would probably guess Matt Schnell. He's taken on a short notice, I do believe. On to the main card opener, Iwo Baroniski versus Junior Tafa. This is a close one, man. I know the odds don't show that because Baroniski's a -400 favorite. But that's just because he's been in the UFC and he's been getting the KOs, so... But Junior Tafa is a very good kickboxer. He has very good technique. He's not like a schmuck, even though he kind of is. He's a schmuck if you can grapple him, but I don't think Baranowski's going to grapple him here. I think he's going to charge in. So, it is a very close fight because Baranowski is a killed or be killed fighter. Same with Junior Tafa. You know, chin-wise, I think Junior Tafa probably has a better chin. I think Baranowski hits harder. I think he has more of a dog in him. I think Junior Tafa has better technique. I can see Junior Tafa being better off the back foot here, you know, which could get Baranowski some problems if Tafa can square up and uncork a left hook on the counter. This is a close one. I am going to go with Baranowski, though. You know, he's the streaking guy. He's the big prospect. You know, he's getting all the buzz about him, the TikTok edits made about him. So I'm going to go with Baranowski by first round KO. But do not be surprised if Junior Tafa corks him on the chin, puts him out bad. And if you're going to look to make money here on the odds, I would 100% put money on Junior Tafa by KO. There's no money to be made off Baranowski, so just keep that in mind if you're betting on this. So, yeah, it's a be killed fight. You know, this is one of the ones where whoever lands first is probably going to win. And I just think Baranowski is going to be the one pushing forward. He's going to be the one just putting his head down and throwing, and I think he'll clip Junior Tafa and put him out. Also, Junior Tafa, if this goes anywhere past the first 2 minutes of this fight, Junior Tafa is going to fucking lose. He has no gas tank. It's fucking embarrassing. Okay, on to Bryce Mitchell versus Santiago Luna. This is a good fight, man. This is a really good fight. This is on short notice. Santiago Luna taking this one on short notice. Bryce Mitchell is supposed to fight Victor Henry. I thought he would have beat Victor Henry very easily. I thought he would have finished Victor Henry. But Santiago Luna, man. Those long, lanky fucking arms. I think they're going to give Bryce Mitchell problems, and I think he's going to be able to piece Bryce Mitchell up on the feet, man. Stuff the takedowns. It's clobbering time a little bit. Get him, you know. It's going to be clobbering time in this one. It really is. Santiago Luna is just going to fucking clobber Bryce Mitchell for like 2 rounds. Bryce Mitchell's going to shoot a shitty takedown, and Santiago Luna's going to latch up a Darce choke. It's how you beat Bryce Mitchell. You piece him up, and then you Darce him. And I think that's what's going to happen. And Santiago Luna is going to cement himself as the next prospect to beat Bryce Mitchell. Because Bryce Mitchell's good, but there's always the guy with talent that beats him. You know, there's always those guys with just too much talent just beats Bryce Mitchell. Because Bryce Mitchell's a dog. Don't get that twisted. Bryce Mitchell is he's got that dog in him. He ain't gonna go out easy. He's gonna be throwing here. I do think this is gonna be a very close fight. But I just think Santiago Luna is gonna clip him with something, rock Bryce Mitchell. He's gonna shoot a takedown and get Darced. It's the Bryce Mitchell meta. You know, he's gonna maraud him a little bit here. But you know, Bryce Mitchell could mix it up. Like if Luna isn't able to stuff the takedowns of Bryce Mitchell will just dominate him to a 30-26 decision and, you know, keep the momentum going. He did just beat Said Nurmagomedov, which is a very good win, but he's kind of a fucking pussy. You know, he's like one of the ones they put him in the corner. You know, Said. You know, he's not really one of the Dagestanis. You know, he's like a Shera Magomedov kind of offspring. You know, he's not really like the Sambo kind of pick you up, slam you, get the Dagestani handcuff, and just fucking hold you to a 30-27. You know, he was like a pitter-pat striker who can get a crafty submission every once in a while. You know, that was his go-to, the pitter-pat into like a guillotine. That was Said's go-to, so Bryce Mitchell out grappling wasn't like too surprising, like, oh my god, he out-wrestled the Dagestani. Yeah, but, you know, Said is a striker, even though he is Dagestani. He does have the grip strength and everything because he is Dagestani, but, you know, I think Santiago Luna is too good, too talented. That's what it comes down to. Santiago Luna, even though I'm not too high on him, like, I don't think he's like this fucking next bantamweight champ kind of thing. You know, I don't think he's going to be in like the top 5 or top 10, but I do think he'll be in that like 10 to, or 15 to like 7 range. So maybe, you know, just on the cups of a top 5 opponent kind of thing. He'll get the top 5 opponent and then lose, or he'll get ranked, he'll get a couple fights and he'll lose to like a gatekeeper, whoever. Fucking Davidson Figueiredo probably chins him. All right, on to the feature fight. This is a sick fight. Fares Ziam versus Tom Nolan. This is a fucking sick fight between 2 elite lightweight prospects. Both guys should probably be looking for a ranked opponent, but, you know, the ranked fighters at lightweight hate to fight. They just hate to fight. With the most inactive division is lightweight. But this is a good fight. Fares Ziam is on a fucking hell of a win streak. He's beaten, what's that guy's name? Oh God, I can't remember his name. But he's beaten Matt Frivola. He just beat Sadikov. Who is that guy? I'm seeing his face. I gotta look it up. Mike Davis. That's who I was thinking of. Mike Davis. He beat Mike Davis a couple months ago, or a year ago now at this point. But that's who I was thinking of. Mike Davis is very good. He's beaten very good prospects, and I just don't think Tom Nolan is that guy. I don't think he's that guy to beat for Ziam at this point. This is like the fucking third best guy that Ziam's fought on his win streak here. So I think it's going to be a Fares Ziam fight, man. I do. I think it's going to be a classic Fares Ziam fight. Little pitter-pat on the feet. They'll be keeping it even. Ziam will be clinching, stinking it up, getting it against the cage. We get to the first and seconds, kind of a snooze fest. We get to the third round. But a minute left on the clock to be up against the cage, and Ziam will land something in the clinch. He'll land something that'll hurt Nolan, drop him bad, and either get a submission or a TKO. I'm going to go with the TKO in round 3. After a pretty boring fight that Ziam's just kind of controlling, fighting it where he wants to fight it, and then he'll get like a sneaky elbow, sneaky knee, a punch on the break, and he'll clip Tom Nolan, put him down, get the TKO. I do think that's how this is going to go, and hopefully Ziam can get a ranked opponent next, because goddamn, how many we wanted to beat the whole fucking unranked division? God fucking damn. On to the co-main event. Brendan, known Canadian, versus Edmund Shabazian. All in, Allen. Known Canadian, known American, known Brazilian. Culture shifter, or shapeshifter. Brendan Allen versus Edmund. Weird body, Shabazian. I mean, I don't even, this is a layup. I'm gonna be real. Is there anyone still on the Edmund Shabazian train? Who is on the Edmund Shabazian train? Yeah, man, this is our shot, man. We're gonna be the top 5, man. Yeah. Who's on the Edmund Shabazian train in the big 2-6? If you're still on the Edmund Shabazian train 2026, you need to take a good look in the mirror, genuinely. He could win. There's always that chance that Edmund Shabazian that he just KOs Brendan Allen in round 1, and whoa, Edmund's here. I don't see it. He might hurt Brendan Allen in round 1. He might go for the finish, and then he'll fucking gas. As soon as round 2 starts, Allen will take him down and submit him. This is not really not a fair matchup at all. My boy. Brendan Allen should be fighting fucking, I don't know. I was going to say a Mavov. They've already fought. Maybe in a Mavov rematch. He should be fighting Dricus Duplessis, He should be fighting Israel Adesanya. He should be fighting fucking Edmund Shabazian. There's guys outside the rankings who should deserve this shit more than Edmund Shabazian. I would fucking, David Gautier would fucking destroy Edmund Shabazian. Bo Nickel probably beats Edmund Shabazian right now. Kyle Dawkins beats Edmund Shabazian right now. Anyway, the fucking worst matchmaking ever in that fight. On to the main event. Belal, remember the name. Remember the name, Belal Muhammad versus Gabriel Bonfim. Evens on this one. Man, this shouldn't be evens. Belal Muhammad's going to teach this young whippersnapper a lesson. That's what's going to happen. I do think he's going to win, though. I think it'll be very tricky early. I think rounds 1 and 2, Bonfim is going to be outpacing him, outworking him, outdoing him, and, keeping to that range. Belal's going to have a hard time overcoming that range. But eventually, once round 3 hits, man, Canelo hand's going to wake up. He's going to start pitter-patting him. Pitter-pat, pitter-pat, pitter-pat. He's going to pitter-pat him all around the octagon. Start mixing in the grappling. Bonfim might jump a guillotine like a fucking idiot and get, Belal just get side control out of it, get a more dominant position. But Belal's just more seasoned, man. Belal's more seasoned. Also, I've never been that high on Gabriel Bonfim. But even when he was fighting Chaos, I was like, oh, Chaos is going to KO him. He fought Randy Brown. I was like, oh, Randy Brown's going to get him. So I've never been too impressed with Bonfim. He has proved me wrong every time. Even in the Nicholas Dalby fight, I picked him to beat Nicholas Dalby, and he fucking lost. So I think it's from that. But that is not a good look. You know, he broke in that Dalby fight, and this is a 5-rounder against a former champ, against a guy who's only lost to, in recent years, he's only lost to Jack Della and Ian Gary. So those are good names, you know. Bonfim, I don't think Bonfim's in the top 5 material. Maybe he's like borderline top 10 material, like where he is now. I think that's kind of his peak. I just think Belal's going to break him in rounds 3, 4, and 5 to a 48, 49, 46, 48, 45. No, 48, 46. He's going to have 110-8. He'll 10-8 him in round 5 when Bonfim's just fucking done. And he's like hyperventilating. And he's gassed. Belal's going to beat the shit out of him in round 5. Not finish him, because that would be unholy, you know. Belal could never do that. We don't get finishes around here. We don't like finishes. We break guys, you know. We don't want the finishes. Leave that for the Carlos Prateses, man. Leave that for the, those type of guys. We ain't like that. We ain't like that around here. We're Canelo hands around here. Yeah. But I do think Belal's going to beat the shit out of him for, like, the last 3 rounds and win a dominant decision. Maybe he'll win 49-45. Who knows, you know. But I do think he's going to win the decision, because it is Belal, remember the decision, you know. But yeah, I'm going to go Belal Muhammad by decision, Brendan Allen by submission, Ferguson by TKO, Santiago Luna by submission, Iwo Baranowski KO, Costa KO, McGee KO, a lot of KOs. Bruno Silva decision. You know, I'm going to change Priscilla Cachoeira. I said she's going to KO Justin Chandler. She's going to win a decision. So decision there. Joanna Chambrito, decision. No, submission. Submission round 1. Jacilia Chavez, TKO. And then Caitlin Souza by decision. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Spot 'em out. Peace out, boys.